Okay, chapter 6, fresh courage in retirement, finding purpose, essence, and fulfillment. And I want to start by sharing this art block. Everyone has a gift, seed of greatness buried in a gift needed by the world. And this was something that Miles Monroe said years ago. And when I talk about today's um, topic, be generous. This is the generosity that you can best do is to share uh, the talents and skills that you are here for. There's a book called Liberating Greatness that I read years ago, and it's really made an impact on me. So, generosity, being generous, is our title chapter title. Comes from in many forms. Whether you're just starting out as a giver or a regular serious giver, giving is one of the best ways to pay it forward. And it's meaningful in large, overt ways or in little ways. If you think of your generosity like vanilla extract in baking, a little bit goes a long way. Never underestimate the value others will find from your giving. What makes you feel alive? What makes your heart sing? Longtime philanthropist and visionary Lynne says sharing makes everything better. Sharing frees up an ocean of energy, and it frees us from the chase and myth of more is better. Pay attention to what you already have. When you appreciate what you've been given, it appreciates. You can celebrate what you accomplish. In this, we find a sufficiency that's fulfilling. And what retirees want, a holistic view of life's third age. Dr. Ken Dykewell and author Robert Morrison's research found today's retirees want to be useful. What helps is having a strong sense of purpose that results in being more active, healthier, happier, and feeling young. In our younger years, raising a family and our jobs were central to connecting us to purpose. But purpose can be largely internal, rooted in self knowledge, self improvement, and self actualization. This fits for me because I've always liked to learn. I wasn't driven by it, but like being a perpetual student, but I remember distinctly moving forward in some recovery work because it would enable me to help the people coming behind me. It felt like my learning and transformation were maybe for the greater good in some way. So, purpose can be largely external and social, being focused on success goals or contributing to the welfare of others. And purpose can also have a spiritually based, where it combines inner and external purpose. So, looking back on your journey to this point, where did you get your sense of purpose? Was it in your accomplishments? What do you accomplish now? Months turn into years before you know it. Sadness often turns into despair and powerlessness. Anger turns into distance and then into withdrawal. Letdowns bring on betrayals. Depression turns into emptiness. No doubt you yearn to make a difference and fit in somewhere again. Let's sidestep any frustration by making a plan. In what way could you see yourself finding purpose going forward from where you are right now? Since the future is all yours to choose, what appeals to you? Being generous takes on many forms: time, talent, treasure, reading to someone, being a book lender, listening, running errands for a neighbor, or donating $1 a day to charity. Always being solo, leaving a legacy seemed mostly irrelevant to me. I thought about it a little when I made up my will, but it was nothing earth-shaking, more like, oh well. But now that's changing as I'm becoming more courageous and my dreams are getting bigger. I'm getting more of an idea of how and why I can contribute from my unique DNA and my growing interest in being influential for good. Now I aspire to provide college scholarships for young women, and that feels quite fulfilling. And more recently, to love more deeply and impact more broadly to help growth and transformation in others. So perhaps your purpose will show up in time or as you continue to grow. You could have more resources than I and already have had more opportunities and more connections. Your expertise might exactly fill the need of a foundation or a charity. Perhaps with your marketing and social media savvy, your creativity knows how to help agencies grow and expand. You have a glimpse of where you could fit in and make a difference, a purpose, and a legacy you'd love. It's possible to imagine that most of us want to help others, like grandparents or with grandkids, have a better life. Influence, mentor, support, or share your experiences and wisdom. Could be that there are kids in your neighborhood, kids of your friends or nieces and nephews who need your help. Do you doubt you could? Does it seem like a mystery to you? How, where? Don't have a clue? Be willing to trust the process. That's a mystery of life. Yeah, there could be something tugging at your heart in the back corners of your mind and heart that you need to make up for some mistake you made in the past. Or you want to help others not make the same mistakes you'd made. You've got a hunch how you transform a failure into a learning experience. That could be a gold mine for someone else. I want to impress upon you that the reward of investing your experiential resources and discretionary time is indeed valuable. Just as the love and understanding you receive from others, such as your grandma and grandpa, over the years helped you mature, you can be that same source of inspiration for anyone, my friend. A lot of people need you to help the people coming behind you. I'm amazed at what isn't being taught in our schools now. So young people need us to share and mentor or tutor them, like cooking or sewing or canning, for example. What really anchors their learning experience is for us to share stories and lessons learned along with the skills, the judgment, the reasoning we used, how it worked and how it worked out, what we felt and why we did things we did. There's so much more caught than that which is taught, and it's understood with our hearts. As it became aware of the lack of emotional planning aspect of retirement, and especially as a behavioral scientist, I was gripped with the travesty of this need. Retirees floundering for 2 or 5 years, waiting for the Aladdin's lamp to grant their wish for a purpose is not effective. And it's not your fault. A colleague friend of mine told me of 3 awesome professional people she knew who died shortly after retiring. I've heard the first responders and airline pilots say they have a fear or dread of retiring because their jobs were so demanding that it will leave their lives out of balance. And they also dread leaving their compadres behind. You may have heard the myth that people often die within 3 years of retiring. That's just not right in my mind. I wonder if it's possible for you to embrace curiosity and courage to transform your life. Avoid the lost feeling, the frustration of not knowing where you fit in, who your compadres are now, and uncover what makes your heart sing. My experience after retiring and filling out all the paperwork was wondering, how would I feel productive on a daily basis? Then I remembered the tool we created in my coaching course, an essence statement. Now, tools are good. So I read mine daily, sometimes 2 or 3 times a day. In fact, I made it into a wall hanging. Gradually, I felt when I lived from my essence that every day felt productive. I was living from my core and what was important to me. Wow, what a great feeling. Each day I was giving my best. It was a sense of alignment with my DNA. Perhaps you would think of it as a convergence zone too, the ultimate state of feeling alive. Science now connects happiness with keeping our immunity strong and positive vibrations. It's living my truth and ultimate greatness. Science now, I named my business Effortless Vitality because when you live from your heart, vitality and energy flow effortlessly, like love, caring. It's easy, it's expanding. No strain and no exertion, no struggle or toil, no pain. What has given you the most joy and success? I'm going to bet it involved others. You made a difference. You changed your corner of the world. We express what's in our heart and soul with our generosity. Have you ever thought about what money means to you? How do you express your generosity? I have a couple new friends who teach that money isn't emotional. It doesn't spend itself after all. What you do with what you have expresses what's in your heart. Explore what your generosity means to you. I also realized that living from my heart aligned me with the principles in The Secret, the Law of Attraction, and The Greatest Secret. I heard Rhonda Byrne say, the more effortless you are, the greater you manifest everything you ever dreamed of. Psychologist Abraham Maslow would call it self-actualization. Today, it describes the synchronicities or strange and meaningful coincidence. The inner wisdom leads me to effortlessly in the path I need to take today. Something's changed. Your daily addiction, golf games, distractions, alcohol, are losing their hold, and you're becoming intrigued with finding your purpose. Acknowledging what bounty you already have and being curious I lost my place. Being curious and willing to change your corner of the world sounds like a road to happiness and contentment. With your focused commitment, heart, and empowering dreams, let's prove it's your time to shine. I'll be your guide and partner with you to uncover your place to thrive. So keep listening. I've had a visual aspiration to see billboards around the country with messages beckoning boomers in retirement to lend their know-how and experience to their favorite charity or foundation. Or maybe the foundations make billboards that beckon the brain and brawn of boomers to lend a hand. I've wanted to cover this topic in my podcast with guest speakers, but I couldn't find any. So I had heard of so many professional athletes starting foundations. Why not boomers? Then I recalled how I was so touched with a story told in the book, Compassionate Capitalism, The Journey to the Soul of Business by Blaine, Bartlett, and David Meltzer. In that book, Lee Steinberg, as a sports agent, required his clients to give to a socially responsible or social cause that was meaningful to them. This didn't deter athletes from engaging his services, but caused a logjam of athletes having to wait for his services. Amazing. Being required to do good was attracting clients. Maybe this would be where I could find a guest to speak about foundations. So I got courageous enough to call Blaine and ask. I can still remember where I was when he answered the phone and agreed to schedule a time to be my guest. Then it turned out that his wife, Cynthia Kersey, who had started her own foundation, was available the day we recorded. Whoa! I was speechless. It was shocking and a delight. Kind of left me speechless. Blaine shared that it was Lee's belief that if athletes are not willing to give back early and have a fundamental part in their career, then there's going to be a very short lifespan in their career. This became a model for the movie Jerry Maguire. Giving is an outlet and it's a creative energy outflow. It literally is the law of abundance, a center of distribution and the cycle of life. Without it, things begin to take a dark turn and become a problem, with accumulation rather than circulation. In our podcast, Blaine said, as adults, we begin to put clamps on our imagination. Yet, imagination is where the spirit gets to shine. I don't begin to imagine possibilities until I unleash the spirit. Spirit is where the desire for growth lives. Change and possibility lie in being curious. In Cynthia's book, Unstoppable, many of the stories show change and possibility come from being curious. People weren't willing to settle for not having the possibilities happen. They were unstoppable and were able to give students access to clean water, healthcare, sanitation, healthy food, and training for the parents to generate an income. Then they started schools for tourism, agriculture, clinical medicine, nursing, and mechanics. So you might want to consider a gift or donation to her unstoppablefoundation.org. Blaine added, everyone wants to make a difference. There's no other way in retirement of living a life of greater passion, purpose, and meaning, and giving leads to health, vitality, and wellness. Wherever you are in life, if you're still breathing, you can make a difference. No matter where you are, your life matters. Now, still breathing is why Reagan does what he does. He had a job he loved as an artist for the University of Washington for 31 years. He had used his artwork to raise millions of dollars for charity. but he still felt like he needed to do something else to complete himself. You see, he was a Marine combat veteran in Vietnam in 1967 and 68. And when he came back to the States after serving, some of the drawings of his fellow soldiers he had done over there were the only pieces of some of his friends that actually came home. I knew I wanted to do something and repay my debt because I was able to come home alive. The first time you sit in an audience and you see a piece of your art sell for $5,000 or $6,000 to benefit humanity, it's a life-changing experience. This actually led me to the Fallen Heroes Project. One of the fallen heroes was Vincent Centennial, they called him Saint, from Queens, New York, who was Michael's company driver in Vietnam. On March 28, 1968, after being attacked first with incoming rockets, Vinny died in Mike's arms as he and his corpsman, Nunn and Malazzo, tried to keep him alive. Vinny's last words were, "Mike, I just want to go home." Mike thinks about that moment when Vinny left every single day. In 2014, Vinny's family flew out to Seattle so Mike could present to them his fallen hero portrait of Vinny. And they all agreed Vinny's trip home begins now. Mike made an original for himself too. Since then, over more than 17 years, he has poured his heart, soul, and incredible gift into every fallen hero's drawing he's done. Now, more than 5,700 free fallen portraits from the US, Canada, Poland, and Great Britain. I care about these people, and because of their service, it makes me and my art possible. I do a portrait in such a way that I believe it includes a personal message. The interesting part about this is that I believe that message, whatever it is, the family is supposed to get. I don't know what that message is, but the portraits in many cases carry it home to their family. His Gold Star families write to him to share some of those messages. Have any of you or your family members been recipients of the Fallen Heroes Project? Adds Michael, there's something that drives me to do 2 portraits every day of soldiers who've died in this war, including suicides of those who served in this war. What I do for 12 hours a day, I look into and draw the face of the fallen hero, trying to bring back some life back into the family in a spiritual way. When I do this work, what I'm hoping for is some type of relief for the family who are going through so much pain. With this project, I hear all the stories. I see all the pictures. I get to know the people I'm working with. I study them. I read their diaries. I watch their videos. I talk to their family members before I do their art. I don't sit down and just draw a picture. I learn pretty much all there is to know about them. Because of the spiritual component to this project, it's possible. There are lots of tears in my house, a lot of energy. I walk miles after I finish drawing for the day, hoping I can heal my heart a little because tomorrow I'm going to break it again. And I often see him walking by my street because he's a neighbor. On March 25, 2015, Mike was presented with the Citizen Service Before Self-Honor by the Congressional Medal of Honor Society at Arlington National Cemetery. It's called the Civilian Medal of Honor, and other Medal of Honor recipients present told him, "You're helping all these families heal. All of these families that are in horrible pain, you're helping them start living again, and you're doing it for free. We wanted to recognize that. A friend then contacted Mike with an attorney to set up a 501c3 nonprofit foundation, which means all monetary donations are tax deductible. And his foundation is the Michael G. Reagan, Reagan, Portrait Foundation. And I actually know another neighbor here helps support that foundation and the work that Michael does. The website is fallenheroesproject.org, and all the folks involved in the foundation work for free, including the artists. But like with everything, there are still costs involved with distributing these 4 portraits across the country and to our allies around the world. There are supplies, office expenses, storage, and mailing costs. Michael does most of his framing work with Hobby Lobby in nearby Lynnwood, Washington, and his art website is michaelgreaganartist.com. There are also many videos on YouTube about his fallen heroes work. Okay, be generous, the actions to take. I have quite a list here today. I usually limit it to 3, but I have several here, so maybe have a pen and paper here. Make a list of 3 things daily you are grateful for. 2, be as curious as you are wise. 3, what have you let go of to get you to this place? List 3 to 5 of your most important guiding principles. Everyone has guiding principles, mottos, and that guide to day-to-day living and working might be examples like trust the process or just do it. Okay, another call to action. What about your life isn't working for you now? What is it costing you? Next, if you really like an organization and the cause it serves, get curious about how the operations work. You may find a new passion to work with or gain a better understanding of how their contributions are used. Next, assuming the world is perfect right now, what would it look like to you? What does it feel like? If being generous is something you value, do you wish you had more to give? And I want to leave with a tip from one of my colleagues that I have met over the years. She has a course called Master Your Money Now. And it's the website of my friend Melissa Ternes. She is a financial power checklist. She has a financial power checklist to download for free to evaluate the health of your wealth at melissatternes.com. Okay, thank you for listening. I am challenging you today to be generous and give your best because you're still breathing. Thanks for watching.